people who have day-to-day concerns. It's more informational. This is to facilitate healing or usually used in clinics. Ito naman hospitals and institutions. Treatments of clients, treatment of patients. So, ang psychotherapy is really traditionally is following the disease model. The assumption is you need to be treated. Yeah? That's why psychotherapy is associated with, or they work hand in hand with psychiatrists kasi sometimes you need medicines na for biological roots of problems. Diba? So, yun. Ang counseling was associated sa school kasi nga, the assumption these are, I don't want to use normal people, pero yun nga, not dysfunctional. But for me, again, it's not really to differentiate, but it's for unification.
Yes.
So unification, both interact with people who need help, whether it's clients or patients. Purpose is to help them solve problems, emotional or behavioral. And the most important thing is that both attempt to help improve functioning. So, it is important to know how different they are, but I think it's more important to know what unifies them.
Or can we also put it this way, sir? The process of psychotherapy involves counseling. Along the process, like those psychotherapists, they incorporate counseling in the process of psychotherapy. So in a way, they are unified. It's like you cannot psychotherapy without
principles in counseling are integrated into principles of psychotherapy.
That's what I mean.
You can look at
Divided psychotherapy involves counseling.
Kaya makikita nyo yung mga books ngayon talagang counseling psychotherapy. Na magkasama na sila, di ba? So, ang pinagka-problema yan sa amin, sa school namin kasi
Sa faculty at sa CMO, sir,
nag-share lang ng faculty mo dyan. Kasi, anyway, let's, yes.
So sir, pwede na i-interpret na magkakaiba rin kung sino yung client nila. Kasi isa patient, isa client.
Again, minsan kasi philosophical yun eh. Some are not comfortable calling their clients patients. Kasi if you're humanistic about it, they're not patients, they're humans.
So kung sir, sa context din talaga kasi siya i-apply. Kasi kapag sa NCMH, RP ka talaga dapat.
Yes. Kasi, from what I know, yung sa NCMH is mental health.
Facility ka.
Ano talaga eh,
Case management.
ano talaga, parang psychiatric wards yun, di ba? So talagang, and psychiatry again is very much related to clinical psychology.
Ay, sa prisons.
Kaya tingnan nyo kunyari sa PGH, yung psychiatric ward nila doon, psychiatrists, tapos wala nga silang in-house psychologist dun eh. Parang ano lang, consultant lang, clinical psychologist. Okay. So, hindi guidance counselors ang namin. Kaya hospital. But the models, orientation that we are coming from, pretty same.
Yeah.
Ito mga psychiatrists din sila po eh. So, yes. Ayun. Ngayon na? Or clinical?
Ako, yung isa po tiga-kasal po, si Sir Ivan,
Hindi ko
sa neuro and rehabilitation.
yeah, sa ward 5 actually. Ward 5. Si Ivan po.
Kasi alam ko parang pupunta rin sa ward 7.
For cases na merong rehab cases. Kasi di ba minsan may mga patient na psychiatric patient pero merong rehab problem. So pupunta sila na parang, kami tawag sila dun, liaison, something, collaborate with us. Just like some neurologists will go to psych ward kasi may mga neurological problem yung mga patients. Anyway,
I think it will now depend on our specialty. Kasi kung parehas na naman, for example, yung kung magiging base na theory natin, it will be based on your specialty na. Kung saan ka talaga may specialty, kung saan ka magaling, for you to be able to identify yung mga type.
Tama.
Kasi tayo magkakatalo talaga tayo, RGC, and then RP, ganyan. But then again, it's your specialty. Like, so of course, your ABA therapist or your behavioral therapist, you identify yung type.
Yeah. Yun na nga, so talagang we should work for unification, not differentiating.
Pero yung pwede work isa, di ba?
How we can really help each other.
Isa.
Yeah.
How can we help each other help other people?
The psychologist cannot be a guidance counselor in the school.
Hindi.
Dapat depende sa school kasi, depende sa, may mga school na they directly hire RGC, not psychologists. Okay. Meron naman na psychologist nga sila na.
Kasi PR sila in my school. Kasi alam na sila sila psychologist. So I assume na pwede ako mag-guidance counselor. I've been in that school for the longest period of time. They told me hindi ka pwede mag-guidance counselor.
Kasi wala ka license.
License, even if I'm licensed, I should get hired.
They specifically look for that.
So I was really taken aback. Ako talaga, ang problema naman nito, love life. You know, hindi ako mag-baon. Hindi nag-guidance counselor. You know, di ba? Parang nilo.
I think we need more information dissemination.
Iba-iba pa ano sila.
The psychology board needs maturity actually. RBC is more mature.
Kasi pagka-guidance counselor is more
RBC
educational
is
settings.
confused until now.
Yeah,
They have catered some
behavior
events.
in educational settings. Well, if you're a psychologist, pwede ka sa mga company, pwede ka sa mga hospital.
Actually, sa UP, what we do is, there are guidance counselors, but then, kasi the threat ngayon is there are so many students who are, are attempting. Yung mga, marami kasi yung depression. So, kapag ganun na, nire-refer na sa psychologist. So,
Kapag hindi na kaya ng guidance counselor.
parang ganun.
Kaso mas mataas ang psychology.
Pero psychology.
Kasi mas yan.
Yeah, I know.
Diba, dun sa for exam ng guidance and counseling, iba yung content niya, walang points of personality. Ang meron yun, administration, supervision,
Yes.
program.
Iba rin naman areas
At least
nila.
ako, so alam ko yun. Pero meron sa board exam ganun. Tapos, mostly, school setting yung mga questions. Yung counseling and psychotherapy, sa board exam ng guidance, tsaka sa site, almost the same. Oh, pero yung mostly sa questions is more on the school setting.
Oo, yung setting talaga ng...
Kasi siya design for school eh. Yung
So,
It's not really a matter of asking which is higher or which is Yeah, it's really unification, how you can maximize the expertise of both fields. For a time, clinical psychologists are second-hand citizen compared to psychiatrists. Same thing. And we cannot say that they're higher than us because they do not do psychotherapy. And as much as we cannot prescribe medicines. So, kanya-kanyang ano lang yan. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the one who reviewed you for abnormal psych is a psychiatrist and probably one of the best psychiatrists in their country. Hindi na ako sure kung siya nga talaga mag-review sa inyo. Pero,
Sino po?
hindi no,
Anong pangalan, sir?
kasi ako sure eh, hindi ako sure kung sino talaga. Pero si Dr. Constantine Delia, who's a former PPA president, psychiatrist. Philippine Psychiatric Association. Guwapo siya.
Sana siya.
Guwapo, matalino, magaling.
Sana siya. Sir, binata ka?
Hindi ko naman sasagutan. Malalaman nyo kung bakit hindi ko sasagutan. So, importante magaling one of the some of yung gagaling yet very humble professional that I've ever known. Anyway, sige, so let's proceed. I'm afraid hindi ko alam kung kakayanin natin yung mag-exam or even matapos yung sa gawin natin. Ano yung sa gawin natin? Logo yan. Extend na nga ako naman. Okay, so Carl Jung is supposed to be the crown prince of Freud. This is the follower, pero hindi ko alam kung napanood may movie about them eh. Long time, hindi ko lang, 2 years ago. May movie about... Yes. Basta, he was supposed to be the crown prince, but it turned out that they had differences in their ideas. Carl Jung kasi is a well-traveled man, and what I really appreciate about Carl Jung was he incorporated Eastern concepts in his theories. Tapos, ano siya Freud's brilliant, and so was he. Pero yung brilliance nila magkaiba talaga. One major difference would be hindi ko alam kung yan eh.
Oo nga, siya parang pag-take down yung stand lang.
Assistant.
Kasi paano
Ano ba?
Thank you.
Ano yung magugulit na? Ito yung flavor, hindi ko siya. So later na lang.
Hindi, pero tama eh.
Ano sa'yo mag-update?
Ay, hindi nga eh. Tawag ko sa Jason.
Nasa cafeteria.
Tsaka sir, wala pa rin yung iba.
Nasa cafeteria. Meron pa bang wala?
Dami pa sir. Sige ko yung magtatabi. Asipag mo na. Asipag mo na. Nagambili ko magtatabi. Asipag mo na.
That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling.
So top 1, top 2, top 3, top 4. Pwede mo lang lahat.
Diba? Equal, no?
So, tuloy natin magtap. Kasi yung kasi so, may logical top 1, share 20.
Oo, di mo ba? Lahat doon. Walang iwanan. Explain na.
Spark review.
Yeah, instead of Fridays.
Psychology spark review is pass all. All us.
Yeah.
That's why minsan,
See you later.
Nag-visualize.
positive. Think positive. Epekte lang din ng konti lang. This to biglang mag-aaral na kami.
Yes, this is yours, pero I think some copies are still on the way. So sabay-sabay daw ibibigay. So hinintay na lang kami yan. Inakit na. But the problem is, yesterday daw is 28 na yung dumating, so akala na 28 lang. So ibang copies, mukhang sa Thursday magbibigay. Yung mga absent kahapon, parang gano'n. So bali, ano naman, when you read it, you will recognize what we discussed here. Anyway, so yun. So, again, there were two major disagreements between Freud and Jung. One is the concept of the unconscious, which is a major issue between the two of them. Okay, because if you talk about the unconscious, the Freudian way, you will think of it as a very negative unconscious. It's like, if you compare it with your house, it's like your bodega. It's where you put things that you don't like to see anymore. Diba? But for Carl Jung, the unconscious is like the things you put in your house that beautify the house. Diba? It's a source of wisdom. Sabi nga niya, the unconscious is wise. It's wise unconscious. Okay, why is it wise? Now, let's explain. Okay. The psyche is your personality. Okay? The psyche is the core of who you are. Then there are levels. Okay? You have the ego and the personal unconscious, and you have the collective unconscious. Okay. So ego is the center of your conscious mind. It's like the conscious level compared to Freud. Okay. The personal unconscious is, if you will compare it with Freud's theory, is more it resembles more the unconscious of the Freud. Only that it's not just about the negative things. Okay? It houses what we call complexes. Okay? Yung complexes na to, ito yung parang theme ng buhay mo. Complex. Nasabihan na ba kunyari, ang lakas ng mother complex mo? That means, it is very evident that you are a very caring, like, mother. How is a mother seen throughout history?
Nurturing.
Nurturing, would sacrifice the self for the kids, ganyan, diba? So, pag sinabihan kang mother complex, parang kang Mother Teresa, you take care of everyone. Okay? Pag sinabihan kang ang lakas ng messianic complex mo, that means, una na ipapusapos ka. I-sacrifice mo lahat to save mankind. Right? So, it houses the complexes, yung personal mo. But your personal unconscious is influenced by the contents of your collective unconscious, which houses the archetypes. Okay? The collective unconscious is the product of the unconscious of our ancestors. Okay? So, you can look at it this way. Para siyang, kumbaga sa biology, para siyang genetic. Namamana mo yung genes ng ancestors. Only that is unconscious. Yung unconscious genes pa yun. Or kung gusto nyo ng mas modern metaphor, it's like buying a laptop. Diba? The pre-stored program, and yung mga pre-stored usually, yung mga kasama na pag binili mo. Mga Windows, Office, ganyan. Yun yung collective unconscious. Yung inborn. Wala ka nang magagawa ng dyan na yan, nakasaksak na yan. Pero yung mga gusto mong idagdag, kasi yun yung complex mo, yun yung hilig mo. Kunyari, gusto mong dagdagan ng statistika. Gusto mong dagdagan ng SPSS. Dahil ang complex mo, statistician ka. Ganyan, right? Meron kang statistician complex. So, yun na yung personal. Di ba? Ano mo na kasi yun, personal choice. But, still, your personal choice of statistika was influenced by your ancestors. Kumbaga, meron dun sa mga pre-existing program that made you value statistics, that you want to put statistica inside the computer. Okay? Medyo clear?
Clear.
Sige. But it's not new to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Medyo.
Pero,
Pero, do I make it clear? Okay, sige. Kasi baka mamaya, alam naman pala tayo ng oras. Kasi imbis na iba na lang yung dinidiscuss ko na, di ba? Just stop me if, okay, the answer, simple lang yan, kaya namin yan. You can tell me that. So we can, kasi I'm trying to squeeze in everything that I can squeeze. Okay, kasi ang dami. I'm assuming na some of these are new to you, some are not. Okay, so, but, now what are these archetypes, diba? These archetypes are primordial, powerful symbols throughout history that we give meaning to, and it influences us. Itong archetypes nito. Okay? Nasa collective unconscious siya. Sige. Now, do you have questions regarding archetypes? Sige. Ngayon itong dynamics of the psyche or characteristics of the psyche, how does the psyche operates? Ngayon, the psyche will always have opposites. The symbol for it is the yin and yang, right? Opposites meaning...
Sorry, excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you go back to the archetypes? So what do you mean again by archetypes?
These are images that is product of history, that it embodies certain characteristics. Like for example, archetype of a hero. Throughout history, what is the common characteristic of a hero? Strong, pero sa umpisa nabubugbog. Kung yun yung Filipino archetype of a hero, yung FPJ. Pero at the end, victorious. Diba? Ganon. Or what is an archetype of a wise old man? Of an old man. Usually, it embodies wisdom. Diba? So yun. Now, ano ba yung use ng mga archetypes na to? Kasi, one, for example, in therapy, dreams. Okay? There are two major interpretations of dreams. One is the Freudian, wherein you try to look at the manifest and latent content. Manifest content is the actual. Like for example, you dreamt of fire, then the interpretation of fire is fire. But the latent content is the unconscious meaning of fire, which is Fire is, it can be passion for something, di ba? In archetypal dream analysis or Jungian dream analysis, you use symbols, interpret them as archetypes to convey something about the unconscious mind. Okay? Like for example, nanaginip ka ng matanda, and yung matanda symbolize wisdom. So maybe you need to listen to what the old man is saying. Maybe that's what the unconscious is telling you. So yung archetypes na yun symbolize something. And usually it symbolizes something that is related to our ancestral past, our history.
That would influence.
That influence who you are right now. Now, again, going back, just like what I said about Freud, this is a theory. Some of you might be amazed. A while ago, during break time, I think you said you like Jung. But others, they don't appreciate Jung. Kasi parang related to mysticism, parang to ganyan, diba? Some people, and I know a psychologist, a practitioner, she doesn't like Jung. Kasi parang against her religion. Diba? Kasi it used gods, ganyan, spirits. So, kanya-kanya lang naman yan. But going back to, kunyari, dream analysis and using the Jungian lens, Jungian dream analysis is very heavy on interpreting archetypes. Ano nakita mo sa dream mo that are archetypal. Okay? And those archetypes, those symbols are telling you something. Okay? Tapos minsan yung nakita mo sa dream, in term yung papagawa sa'yo, ipapadrawing sa'yo inside a mandala. Ay, hindi na what mandala is yung parang bilog yung nandun lahat yung laman ng unconscious. So yun. So what clear? Now, what are the dynamics of the psyche, or how does it operate? Okay, opposite, one, the psyche will always have opposites. You have a default setting. Kunyari, you are a humble person. That is your conscious self. You know that. You're aware that you're a humble person. But it always has an opposite. Na kapag humble ka, meron ka rin kayabangan. Okay? Na if the environment will trigger you to be mayabang, you can unload it, or you can unleash it. Okay? And the intensity is as equal as the opposite. So, kunyari, kung gano'n ka ka-humble, pag na-trigger yung kayabangan mo, ganun din. Okay? Kung gano'n ka ka-kind or generous, if the environment will challenge that or will trigger that, the intensity is also gano'n. Kaya nga yung mga malay-halala dyan hihin-hinin, pag nagalit, bumubuga ng apoy. Yeah. And it elicits the reaction na, ikaw ba yan? Parang ganyan. Ang hindi ko nakita yung na ganyan ka. Ayun. And those two will create, it will create tension. Yung, yeah, I know myself as a humble person, but I was capable of unleashing my arrogance. Okay? So there's tension. Okay? But there's beauty in it. Okay? Hindi mo naman kailangan na paglapitin sila na hindi kailangan balance ako. There's a purpose why you have the opposite. Because it's protective. Na pag kailangan, ina-unleash mo siya. And that's unconscious. Sometimes you're not aware that you're unleashing it. Okay? But, of course, these are opposite poles. It's like rubber band. If you hinatak mo siya, same intensity . So, pag hinatak mo ito na parang 9 din ang hatak mo dito. So, ang lakas ng tension, right? But, there's a purpose why. Same intensity.
So, what's the yin yang then?
Again.
Yin yang then.
Opposite. Ibig sabihin,
It's a Chinese concept, right?
yeah. But, kumbaga yun yung archetype to symbolize opposites. Di ba? Sa mga martial arts yung ginagamit. Kasi discipline yan . Discipline, balance between the two. Yun. Then, synchronicity for Carl Jung events are meaningfully related to us. There are no coincidences. So, it's a mixture of freedom and determinism. Parang what he's saying is, things that are happening are bound to happen, but we're not slaves of destiny. It's like opportunities will present itself, but it is up to us how to respond to those opportunities. So, synchronicity yan. Parang the universe will do something to make it happen, but you have to respond to it. Parang ganun yung and sometimes you just have to trust your unconscious nga daw when you respond to opportunities. Okay? And the goal of the psyche is to individuate. In fact, in therapy, this is the primary goal of Jungian therapy, to individuate, or to simply to journey and know yourself. Okay? And to make meaning, or to understand what is happening to you right now and how it contributes to your individuation. Okay? In your journey, there are archetypes that will come and go, and depending on what is being triggered by the environment. Okay? Like for example, nung grade school ka, the environment is so competitive. So your warrior archetype is triggered. Okay? Pero nung college, relax yung environment, so nawala yung ganung archetype mo. So it can be triggered by the environment. So yes, to further clarify what archetypes are, yun nga. It derives from the contents of the collective unconscious. However, sabi ni Carl Jung, it has a biological basis. Kumbaga, some people are really predisposed to have certain archetypes, but it is influenced by our ancestors. Every time I think of archetypes, I cannot help but be reminded of Star Wars. In the Force is like the collective unconscious. It's the Force na nag-guide sa atin. These are some prominent archetypes. You have the anima and animus ni shadow. Ito yung top 3 siguro. Anima is the unconscious female of a male. Ayun. So, it has nothing to do with sexual orientation. Every man has an anima. So, for example, ako, lalaki talaga ako. Lalaki. So, that means, ang conscious ko is the animus. How I know myself is the animus. That's my conscious self. But I have a female unconscious, and that's the anima. So, for example, nagpakita ako ng very caring nature, forgiving, emotional nature. So, that means I have a strong anima. But I am a male. It has nothing to do with gender orientation. Likewise, there are females who are high in their animus. Unconsciously, they exhibit traits that historically are associated with men, like being firm, being decisive, being strong. Okay? Now, for example, dream analysis, diba? Laging merong, kunyari, yung dream ko laging may female content. Okay? Laging may female character doon. It is possible that that's me. Okay? Ako yun. And it is telling me that sometimes I need to unleash my female unconscious. Something like that. It can be the opposite. It can be the females na nandun yung fortunately, I was able to attend an elective course before na Carl Jung. Carl Jung, we talked about Carl Jung the entire time. Did you take that? Yeah. Carl Jung. So, our professor is one of the pioneers of the Carl Jung Circle. Yung Carl Jung Circle kasi. So, she taught for a short time sa university namin. So, unfortunately, I was able to join that. Ay, hindi, si Dr. Villasor yun. Doctors. simbate. Hindi ko alam kung anong relationship. Basta, ang galing mag-English. Tapos nakakatawa kasi, she told us that you can even ask the name of your anima. Okay? So parang ano lang din siya, kanyari, before you sleep, you talk to your unconscious. Diba? Kaya ako naman parang, talaga, totoo yan, pwede ba yan? Sige nga, makasubukan nga. Sige, hindi, baka kung matulog, okay, I want to know you, please introduce yourself to me. Ganun daw gawin. Natatakot niya naman, baka bilang sumagot eh. I'm Lucy. Demonyo, hindi naman ganun. Anyway, sabi niya, it's either there's a female character who will really introduce her to you literally, or if you cannot remember your dream, usually it's the first name that you will remember when you wake up in the morning. So I tried. I don't remember anyone, but yes, true enough, when I woke up, her name was Anna. Parang gano'n. Now,
Tatay mo pala sa signal.
now, if I'm going to be skeptical about it, kung halimbawa cognitive mas cognitive ako than Freud yan, sabihin ko, ano yan? Kasi recency effect. Yan, but ganun naman, theory yan, it's up to you. If it will make you happy to believe in that, then it's okay. Kung hindi ka sasaya, di ba? Wala nang pwipili si maniwala sa anima-animus. Nasa inyo lang yan, di ba? So anyway, that's so same with animus. Mamaya, subukan nyo. Mamaya gabi.
Kasi puro yun naman.
Yeah, that's... Ang pangalan niya, Digong. Di ba? Matching-matching. Animus. Shadow. Shadow is the archetype. If you're going to ask yourselves, kung itatanong niyo sa ninyo, can you think of a person you really love to hate? Talagang makita niyo pa lang sira ng buong linggo ninyo. Yeah. Then try to think of her or his characteristics. Okay. Tingnan niyo, ano ba yung galit na galit kayo sa kanya? Ba't anong meron siya na galit kayo? Anyone? Ano yung pinag-ayaw sa isang tao? Buisit. Mayabang, chismosa, malandi, maarte, ganyan, right? You hate those characteristics because
Ikaw din ganun.
hindi naman, I'm careful to say that. Hindi ka naman ganun, pero meron ka nun inside you. And if needed, it can be triggered. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. It's not as if you need to eliminate your shadow. It's not as if you need to say, oh, I don't want to be like that. Because shadow can be protective. Like, kung merong umapi sa'yo, ang yabang-yabang, binubuli ka, dapat nga matrigger din yung bully inside you so that you can defend yourself. Okay?
Parang mirroring, no?
It's like unconscious mirroring. Parang gano'n. Yung parang... Kaya minsan yung malalakas ang N, kasi di ba, yung psychological types, yung malalakas ang N, nasisimot nila yung, yung tao eh. Ang magpanggap ng taong to, sinungaling. Yung malakas sa kanilang intuition. To detect the shadow of another person takes an equally strong shadow. Okay? So sabi nga it takes one to know one. Pag nasisimot mong ganyan siya, alam mo, may kayabangan kung hayop. So minsan, as an insight, sometimes if we hate someone, we need to look at ourselves. Kasi nag-trigger ako niya. Kaya malakas ang, sa isang, for example, sa isang family, you hate your brother so much because he challenges you. Because he is like you. You hate your dad because he is your shadow. Diba? Sabihin mo, pag lumaki ako, hindi ako maging tulad ng tatay ko. Mainit yung ulo, masyadong prinsipyo. But you end up being like him without you knowing. Kasi shadow mo siya. Diba? But it's not all bad. Because again, it's if you're put in a situation that you need to use that principle, kaya mo rin. Diba? You can use the same principle. So that's the shadow. It's not really a bad thing. It's protective. In therapy, you don't say you get rid of your shadow. It's how to use your shadow appropriately. Yun din yung light and dark aspect of a person. Shadow. Can you identify your own shadows? May mga tao ba nagtitrigger sa inyo? Pero alam mo kasi pareho kayo. That is why you tend to meet people who are same as you.
Pero pwede rin wala. Possible.
Hindi wala eh, but it's just inactive. Inactive. Kumbaga, patay. Hindi patay. Hindi lang nakatambay, standby. Diba? Standby. Kumbaga sa appliance, nakapulang ilaw na. Pero pag kailangan mo mag-on yan.
Shadow mo pa rin, no?
Shadow pa rin. Pero pwedeng control. Diba? That's the beauty of it. Pag na-identify mo na shadow mo siya, then somehow you can control. Okay. I recognize, hindi ako naiinis sa kanya kasi shadow mo siya. So, ito na lang patulan. Parang gano'n. Right? Yeah. So these are the other archetypes. Now, ano ako nilagay? Meron kasi meron ako nakuhang archetype cards. Kaya nung nakita ng nanay ko to, ano yan? Ano ba yan? Witchcraft ba yan? Karen is one of the practitioners of Jungian psychotherapy, and she used this. Ito yung mga different archetypes. As you can see, in every archetype, ito yung mga common archetypes throughout history and across cultures. You will see that every archetype has a light and shadow attribute. So regardless of the archetype, there will always be a bad and good side, regardless of the label. For example, an addict, we have the notion that it's a bad archetype, but not necessarily, because an addict is, ang light attribute is, it helps you recognize your addictive behavior. If you know to be an addict, you can know how it is to be an addict. Yeah? But it compromises integrity and honesty. So yan, may yung mga common. Ipapadaanan ko lang, baka ma-relate kayo, makarelate kayo. Ako yan. Diba? Ay, yung mga... Ano ba yung mga common? Yung beggar, ito yung parang always... Kung yan ang beggar complex, yung lagi ng hindi.
Basic yan, sir.
Not really basic, but actually comprehensive siya. Parang ito yung a collection of different archetypes across culture. Pero may mga common, like kunyari the bully archetype. Ito, common tong different types of child archetypes. May child divine, yung pure innocence. Merong eternal child, yung sila yung they don't grow up psychologically. Parang silang eternal youth. May magical child, yung parang sacred. Merong nature child. Hindi sana. Sila, affinity with nature is really high. Ito yung mga bata pa lang talagang they have a way with nature, they have a way with animals and trees. You have the orphan, parang laging na-abandon, na archetype. Wounded, yung companion, even yung Don Juan archetype. Ito yung pinya siyang pinaka-romantic na tao sa mundo. Don Juan, the engineer. A father archetype is very strong. Yeah, so this is the tempetality, mga brutal na babae. Erotic energy. Mga tipong mala Angelina Jolie ang role. Lagi palaban. Mga Gabriela. Ako, Younger, Goddess. Meron ba yung goddess? Ano to? Siguro for example, in history, we can associate with Aphrodite. Sino ba yung mga symbols of beauty? See? Venus. Ito. Probably a century from now, Boy Abunda can be an archetype. Focus Kino. Ay, hindi, parang may mas bagay sa Kino. Right.
Ano ba, ikaw na naman emotive.
Huwag na lang, baka mamaya may kamag-anak sa akin dito. Hero, Judge, King, Knight, archetype. Lagi na lang. Yeah, the people who saves and yung like at the end of the day, you rescue the damsel. And damsel is actually an archetype. Lagi na lang, lagi sinusundo. O laging nire-rescue. Diba? Yeah, diba parang pangit naman, you have a damsel complex. Now, how do you translate? Ito yung tipo mga babaeng pag naflatan, kailangan tawagan ng tatay, boyfriend, ganyan. Napalitan na ng gulong ko. Yung nagtangan ko, you need to rescue, literally, every time. And she has the talent of getting into trouble. So ano yan eh, kumbaga, they complement each other. The damsel provides opportunities for the knight to manifest his knightly skills. Diba? Yung knight naman, nire-reinforce niya ang damsel. Okay, so, yeah, in Jungian therapy, he uses archetypes to understand the self better. Okay? Of course, the thing with Jungian therapy is it's just between you and the therapist to use the symbols.
Yes.
Right? Because it's just
So
between...
sir, those examples can be used either to a male and a female. Ganun ba yun? Like the lover, pwede at
Yes. Pwedeng male or female.
So those are only samples of archetypes. Diba?
Yes, samples of
Kasi
archetypes.
archetypes are unlimited naman depending
Yes.
on how you interpret yourself and use the tools.
Okay. It can vary from culture to culture. Like for example, the malakas and maganda can be an archetype in our culture. Diba? So pwede. Now going back to what I said a while ago, it's just between you and your therapist. Kasi ang weird naman na sasabihin mo sa mga kaibigan mo, kasi mayroon akong lover archetype. Diba? So these things are really for your self-understanding. Okay? It's not something na you use to explain yourself to the public. Diba? Okay. So again, nasa letter L pa lang tayo hanggang W yan. Pero I'll just make it quick. Okay? So we have the martyr and mediator archetype. Sino ba dito yung may mediator complex? Pag nag-aaway, kailangan lagi siya nang ipagbate. Do you have friends like that? Okay, so malamang sila yung... pero sila yung nabubugbog minsan eh. Diba? Epal ka sila kasi. Yeah, martyr archetype. This, if we relate it to our culture, ito yung tinatawag ni Dr. Karandang na tagasalo. Tagasalo personality. And usually, according to her, it's usually the eldest female in the family. Most common tagasalo in the family is the eldest female. Siya yung hindi nakakapag-asawa kasi kailangan patapusin mo yung kapatid mo sa bata. Pag nagkasakit ang magulang, siya yung tumatay yung caregiver, automatic. It's usually the eldest. I don't know if it has something to do with culture. Kasi baka kasi diba, in our culture, it's given that you're the eldest female, you take care of your baby. We have the mentor archetype, Messiah archetype, Messiah complex, monk, nun. Of course, the mother archetype. Who among you has strong mother archetype? or the mystic archetype, you always believe that you have a connection with God or the higher being. A networker, a pioneer, a priest, poet. Oh, meron prostitute. But then again, do not look beyond the label. It's always a light and shadow attribute. So there's a positive prince. Okay. Do you have a rebel archetype? Or rebel complex? Kumbaga wala kang ginawa sa buhay mo kundi kumontra. Ito rin. Tingnan mo to Kasi some archetypes in therapy, sometimes the archetypes, they have intersections. And that defines who you are. For example, ang lakas na ng rebel mo, ang lakas pa ng saboteur mo. Yung talaga, i-combine mo yung two. Di ba? Hindi kung para ka ng para ka ng apo sayaw. Hindi naman. I mean, yung talagang ang lakas ng... It can be a good thing kasi you don't fear authority. If you're right, even if the person is more powerful than you, you're not afraid to fight for yourself and for other people. So ayun nga, you go beyond the label because there's a light and dark attribute. Okay, meron tayong mga Samaritan archetype, di ba? Yung mahilig tumulong sa mga hindi nakakilala. Scribe, mahilig mag-document. Seeker o servant. You have a servant archetype. Slave. Shapeshifter. Ito yung ang tawag namin dito sa shapeshifter, ito yung totoong plastic. Yung natural na sa kanila maging plastic. It's not necessarily bad because
Hindi kaya pwede yan.
hindi naman po. Yung sabihin lang yung ganito is, the advantage of this is magaling silang makisama. Yung they know na if I say this, this might hurt the person. So they value in psychopil, in smooth interpersonal relationship. Ayoko sabihin to kasi magkakaroon kami ng Ang problema lang dyan minsan, walang paninindigan.
Yes.
Hindi po magsasabihin sila pag may kumontra, ay oo nga, may point ka.
Tapos kabila ganun.
O, tas ganun din. Yung kumbaga, I will say things that will agree with this person. Pag ito na yung kaharap ko, iba namin sasabihin.
Pag pinagsama mo, tahimik siya.
O kaya, aalis na lang. Para hindi maipit. Shapeshifter. So again, may light and shadow attribute. Slave. Yeah. Anyone here who has a slave archetype? Ang laging response, yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
No, my lord.
Yung mga under, storyteller. Okay. Very good student, yan. Teacher, thief.
So sir, it's you who made all those?
No, it's not. Kasi right now, we can actually, Carl Jung made the concept of archetype known. But the different archetypes are offered by different people na. Like right now, we can think of modern archetypes. Di ba?
Who made those?
Iron Man.
Wait, Iron Man. Anong sinisimbolize si Iron Man? Deacon will be an archetype years from now. Hitler is an archetype. Modern people, Obama, LeBron James. Who made this? It's hard to trace because anyone can just...
Like those things.
Ito?
Pwede ba
Not necessarily siya It can be a compilation Nasa likod ng box. Kasi cards na nabili ko, I think online. Tapos may manual siya. So
it's used for
So you use that for
it's used for therapy. Archetypes are primarily used for therapy. Para to make your clients understand the self better.
But the qualities behind those archetypes, sinong gumawa? Sinong nag-standard?
Hindi ko hindi si Carmen, siya yung nag-compile. Pero to think na ito archetype, it can really be a product of history. Like for example, there is a common characteristics of teachers. There's a common characteristics of all thieves. Diba? And i-compile mo yun, that's the archetype of a thief. Here. So right now, you can author the archetypes. You can think of archetypes. It's not really important what archetype you use, but how you make sense of the archetype to make the person know himself better. Okay? So, it doesn't matter kung sino gamitin ko, basta kung itong symbol na this archetype will make him understand himself or herself better, then use it, by all means.
Pwede combine sa art therapy.
Pwede. Actually, yung mga yung therapist, minsan, art, diba? Yun nga, one is the mandala thing. Diba? Tapos they make sense of the mandala. So yun. Yeah, interesting, diba? Kasi habang tumatagal yung history, dumadami possible archetypes. Do you want to be an archetype someday? The symbol or something.
It makes sense, sir, kasi the more the human personality become complex as time went by, then the more archetypes will come.
Dadagdagan yung mga prominent people these archetypes, if we're going to relate it to trait theories by Allport, para silang cardinal traits. Like cardinal traits yung talagang the trait that defines the person. Diba? Like for example, if your name will appear in the dictionary, what would it be? That's your cardinal trait. Ikaw yung epitome ng ganito. Kunyari ikaw yung taong mapagpatawad, na yung pangalan mo na-equate na sa forgiveness. Na pag kunyari Isabel means to forgive unconditionally. That's your cardinal, that's your archetype. That's oh yeah, you think
creating an archetype for a basher or for a, you know,
can you think of someone who
there is some social media. Diba?
Meron yung gossip kanina.
Gossip.
Diba? It can be a
Parang
manifestation
ginawa
of
ko mag-bash sa social media, for example.
o pwedeng harapan, yung pinababash harap. Yes.
So how do you execute that during the therapy session?
Oh, this ito mismo part.
How do you execute that?
Ang nakalagay sa instruction is you let the client choose. So, ang kumado is parang I think let the client talk to the archetypes. Yung parang kausapin, tapos unconsciously it will respond. Nakakatakot na. Ito gumagano. And it's more of you connect. Hindi po makita mo lang pucha ako to. Sorry.
Kasama mo.
But ako to, yung ganun, sakto, swak na swak. And if you got that feeling, then it is. Okay? Now, one activity na pwede niyong gawin, kunyari, nagiging therapy na tayo sige, bilis. Kunyari, meron kang archetypes, di ba, na napili. May 5 kumausap sa'yo, 5 archetypes talk to you. Okay? Sometimes, you ask the client to create a story using those 5 characters. Okay? And sometimes, you will see that those 5 characters have one common goal. Like, for example, to save the princess, or to save mankind. Okay? So, among those 5, mayroong isang major character, and maybe that's your most active archetype. Okay? And that one thing, that one goal, is actually your individuation. Yun yung goal mo sa buhay. Pwedeng lumitaw na gano'n, right? And for the client to realize, oh, it's already therapeutic. Okay? But then again, I told you, it's something that is between you and your client. Hindi naman lalabas yung client na sisigawan nyo, I have meron akong hero archetype, ganyan. Baka mukha siyang baliw. Pero inside him, he understands himself more by knowing his archetypes. Right? Yeah, I think I got this 10 years ago. It's either online. No, not sa national. It's either online or sa Barnes and Noble sa atin.
Kasi meron pa kami next na. Kasi bibigyan mo experience.
Ay!
Wala.
Wala. Parang ano lang siya. Nung time na, in-scan ko pa yung isa-isa. Kasi natatakot mo wala. Anyway, tapusin natin. Meron ba kayong virgin article?
Oh, yeah.
But do you know what virgin really is? Okay? Virgin, in its true sense, is not really virgin. Virgin has something to do with the hymen. Virgin is... Sorry. Virgin really means complete. Okay? It means complete. You can stand on you're independent. So, virgin women are actually women who don't need other people to complete themselves. Okay? I can stand on my own. So you can actually later on, when you go out of this classroom, you can declare, I'm a virgin. If you think you are a complete person, you don't need a husband. You don't need, because some people are like that, diba? I need a husband to complete me. I need a child to complete me. For example, I'm a mother archetype. They don't find their lives meaningful if they don't have a child. They don't find their life meaningful if I don't have husband. Or if I don't have work or something. Diba? So, yun yung virgin. We have visionary, meron tayong warrior, visionary. Visionary, matataas ang intuition. Anyway. So, quick glance lang yan of what some archetypes are. Okay. Sige, I know you're quite familiar with this, but I want to again run through the psychological types because there are some misconceptions about the use of psychological types. Okay. This is the second major disagreement between Freud and Carl Jung. Okay, for Carl Jung, the libido is a general energy. It's not just sex and aggression. It's a general energy that transfers from one type to another. Okay? And those types, those stations, are what we call psychological types. Have you taken MBTI? Yes. So ito yun. So how to make sense of it? It's like this. Okay? So where do we get our energy is extroversion, introversion. How do we take in? How do we get the input? Is sensing and intuitive. How do we make decisions or make sense of the information that we got? Is thinking and feeling. And how do we organize our world? Or how it's like lifestyle. It's judging and perceiving. Kunyari itong extroversion, introversion. Sinong extrovert dito? Alam niyo yung extrovert kayo? Wala? Lahat yung introvert? Okay. Now again, there's nothing wrong with being introvert and extrovert. It's not there's no pathology here. Okay? This reminds me of one case. Yung parents, dinala nila yung anak nila sa akin. Tapos, syempre, I was asking for the presenting problem. So, paano kung matutulong ko sa anak ninyo? Yung anak namin napaka-introvert eh. Pwede ba maging extrovert? As if there's pathology and introversion. Tapos, sige, ako naman, ayaw muna mag-judge. Anong ibig sabihin nila? Baka naman pathological talaga, hindi magsasalita ngayon. But it turns out, the boy is okay. Personality lang yun. Ano ngayon kung lalaki siya, hindi siya nagbabasketball. Hindi siya ganun sociable. What if, yun talagang ganyan, right? So anyway, this attitude, there's no wrong or right type. It's a matter of really how to blend with the environment. Okay? Kung mali yung environment mo, then kawawa ka. Yeah. So, extrovert, introvert, yan. Try to look at these words. Are these words, saang side ka mas nakaka-relate? We tend to that extroverts are talkative, madaldal. Yes, that's true. Pero you will notice some introverts are also madaldal.
Yes.
Okay? Pero saan sila nagkaiba?
Yung lagi.
Hindi naman po necessarily lalim. But balik, ang mga introvert na nagpapanggap na extrovert, yung introvert na madaldal, you will notice na after nang dumaldal, hinang-hina sila. Hinang-hina. So, uwi na lang yung bigla, mawawala. Ang mga extrovert, habang dumadaldal, lalong lumalakas. Dumadaming tao sa party, lalong sumasaya. Okay? Magpa-party yan from 9 p.m. to sawa. Ang mga introvert, magpa-party yan 6 to 9. Uwi agad. Tapos konti tao. Tipong bago makapasok may password. Para makapasok sa party. And yung extrovert, sige, come on. Extrovert yung tipong lahat ng Facebook mag-invite, tinatanggap. Yung introvert, ini-screen muna. Nag-research mo yan. So let's see more of how we use energy. Introverts, pwedeng dumaldal, pero pag nanghina yan, introvert yan, hindi yan extrovert. Ayaw? Ang extrovert, talagang the more people, they're like vampires. Okay? Habang kumakagat ng dilim, lalo lumalakas. Habang dumadami yung tao, lumalakas. Okay? Now, how do they rest? Ang extrovert, yun nga, part, ang ano nila. So, now, how do we use this? For example, in career counseling. If you look at, bakit di masaya itong tao to? Baka naman yung type, yung nature ng work niya is very social and he's a very introvert person. Kaya siya lagi nang hina at the end of the day. Kunyari, ilagay mo siya sa sales, tapos introvert. Hindi lagi nang hina sa dulo. Right? So, again, yun, yung introvert and extrovert.
Sir?
Yes.
So, once introvert, extrovert.
Okay. I remember that equivalence. So if you're introvert, your extroversion can be triggered. Now in your MBTI or Currency, meron kasing shorter version of Currency, if your score is somewhere in the middle, may advantage and disadvantage yan. The advantage would be, you can swing from both. I mean, you can do two functions. Okay? But again, when it comes to identity formation, it's hard to say, outgoing ako. Pero actually hindi. Medyo. Hindi eh. Parang hirap, di ba?
There are some cases that pwede silang sobrang isolated or sila.
Pwede.
Yeah.
Pwede naman.
So there's a term coin for that, right?
So hindi ka sila multiple personality.
No, that's different. Huwag naman multiple personality. Ginawa niyo ang pathology. No, it's perfectly normal to be in between. It's perfectly normal to be extrovert, perfectly normal to be introvert.
We call it omniverse, sir, right? Omniverse.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure if it's a term used by Carl Jung. Baka ano siya, pasa-pasa. Okay? But the thing is, again, there's nothing wrong with being extrovert and introvert. It's really a matter of how you handle it or appropriateness. Yeah? Sensation, sensing is they thrive in jobs or they thrive with people who are also kapwa sensing nila. Tipong they're realistic. Okay? They're very practical. When they make decisions, they list down the pros and cons. When they have problems, they look for resources. Ang intuitive, when they have problems, they fantasize. Sana nilala lang ang luto, ganyan. Or yun nga, sometimes when they make decisions, they do the pros and cons, but at the end of it, they will still say, God, give me a sign. Okay? Diba? Kunyari, may dalawang nangliligaw sa'yo. Si Peter o si John. So napadaan ka sa St. Peter's funeral or something. Yun na. Funeral ba yun? Chapel. So yun na yun. So but don't laugh because highly intuitive people are very sharp. Their intuition is as sharp as a sensing person. And you cannot explain it. Hindi mo alam bakit ang lakas-lakas ng intuition nila. In terms of when it comes to leadership, different types of leaders siya eh. Yung sensing, sila yung leaders by example, yung they do it, di ba? Ang maganda naman sa intuitive leaders, visionary sila eh. They can anticipate, they can see the entire picture. Okay, but the problem is, kung lahat kayo intuitive, walang nagsusulat. Kung dami yung ideas, sino nag-notes? Wala. Pag lahat naman kayo sensing, lahat nakaabang mag-notes. Walang nagsasalita. Parang ganun, it should be a mixture. Diba? So, sensing when it comes to information, they, yun nga, ano sila yung is to believe eh, patunayan mo. Diba? Patunayan mo. Yung intuitive, bolero yung mga yan. Yeah, they will use words to convince you. And they will tickle your imagination to make you believe. Okay? But again, I want to emphasize there's no wrong or right. Yung conceptualize sila. Judgment, ito. Ang mga thinking people, they're very objective. Feeling is very subjective. Emotions. Okay. Ang mga thinking people, they feel through their heads. Ang mga feeling, they think through their hearts. Madali lang malaman kung sino yung thinking at feeling. Okay? Tingnan, i-observe mo lang. Observe mo lang yung mga, kung paano mag-respond sa pulubi. Yung mga tipong magra-rugby lang yung pagbinigyan ko. Malamang thinking. Pero yung mga, wala kang chinelas, ito sandaan, hindi kang chinelas. So, feeling. Okay. So, anyway, so that's thinking and feeling. Again, no right or wrong here. When it comes to friendship or seeking advice, if you're at the peak of your emotion, it's best to go to a feeling person, someone who will understand you. Hirap na hirap na ako, parang hindi ko na kaya. Kasi siya ang sasabihin na, mahirap na natin yung dadaanan mo. Naiintindihan ko. Ang thinking, tanga ka, ba't mo sinabi mo yan? Pinili yan. Ito gawin mo. At the peak of your emotion. But, again, if you're ready to face your problem, it's nicer to go to a thinking person. Kasi if you go to a feeling person, nakakainis na, hindi pong handa na akong harapin. Gusto ko nang magbago, gusto ko nang umalis sa sitwasyon na to. Ano bang gagawin ko? Ang isasagot niya na kung saan ka masaya, susuportahan kita. Masaya ulo pala ito. Diba? At least ang thinking, sige, ready ka na. Ito, una, tanggapin mong tanga ka. Ito yung gawin mong gawin. Right? Again, what I mean is, walang pangit at maganda. It's really appropriateness. Judging and perceiving. Judging people are very planned, decisive, structured. Perceiving is the YOLO type, yung life is short. So, di ba? Again, walang pangit at maganda. Okay. Ito mga perceiving, ano ito eh. Kalad-kari na good way. Kahit sa mga, sige, tara, experience yan. Judging, tipong pahirapan. Saan tayo punta? Anong oras? Sino kasama natin? Magkano gagastusin natin? Oras tayo uwi. Teka, check ko sa plano ko. Ang pro, di ba? Parang, nakakating mo naman, no? Ang perceiving, nag-ring pala yung phone, saan tayo pupunta? Hindi, wala ka bang sinasabi. Right? So, for example, again, no right or wrong, but you might say that judging, true enough, I think there are more people who are academically, or there are more achieving people under judging, kasi nga structured sila eh, goal-oriented. Ang perceiving, ang habol niyang experience. Diba? So, mas maraming achievers sa judging, pero stress. Yung perceiving naman, steady lang, wala masyadong achieve. Pagpunta ka sa kwarto niyan, puro pictures ng Boracay. At judging, pag nakita mo yung kwarto kasi, it's full of trophies, medals. Now, again, no right or wrong. Why? For example, you might say that judging is a better type because it's more achieving. But for example, this case now, she is undergoing some kind of depression because she thinks that she's being rejected by her friends, her close friends. Okay, why? Okay. For her, in her perspective, she's doing everything for her friends. Like for example, yun nga, outing. Siya na yung, the good thing is, she organized everything, every detail. Mismong first aid kit, siya makakaisip nun. Yung itinerary nila, siyang gagawa. Siya yung nag-book lahat. Ayos na ayos lahat. Okay? That's a big favor. For her, it's a big favor. She's doing favor sa friends niya. Okay? But, the thing is that sobrang taas ng kanyang judging. All of her friends are perceiving mismatch. So, siya yung tipong, alis tayo McDo, 8 o'clock. Pagpatak ng 8, kulang pa, siya yung inis na, sabay naman, mas ba? Siyempre, yung mga perceiving to, dadating yun, grand entrance, uy, kamusta? Mamaya na yan, alis na tayo, ganyan, right? So, for example, napadaan sa isang lugar na, uy, ang ganda ng scenery, picture muna, picture. Walang time tayo dyan. So, naiinis sa kanya. But in her perspective, siya yung tama. Di ba? Yes, ma'am.
Hindi siya kasama.
Yun na nga, kung di parang,
Eh, siya nag-organize.
yeah, siya yung nag-organize. Ang nagiging nangyayari rin sa kanya, what the friends are doing, passive-aggressive. Pag sinabing 8 o'clock, oh sige, nandyan kami, darating 9 o'clock. Nagpa-passive-aggressive sa kanya. Okay? So yun, then this is not my case. I was just listening to a case conference. So, in the therapy session, yung babae niyan kasi judging siya, masyado siyang demanding sa therapist niya. Okay? So, sinabihan siya ng therapist na, what you're doing with your friends, you're doing it to me now. That's why. Okay? So, it made her realize na, oo nga, sometimes I'm so, there's a word for it, sobrang tight o parang controlling. Yun. So, yeah. So, that's why Jung, and not all, I expect that you do some additional reading, but I think those are the most important concepts. Are you still okay?
Yes.
Still Adler.
Sir, you can relate what is a theory?
Yes. Yes. Pero ang original yun sa kanyang first day, in judging perceiving, I think dagdag na lang yung mga sumunod na theories.
Kaya dahil niya po
Yeah, okay. It's a good thing that you pointed it out. Every station has its interpretation, but to combine those letters is another thing. Merong 16 possible combinations yan, ENTJ, SFP, and it can actually change. After 6 months, you can take it again, it might change. Why does it change? Triggers from the environment.
But hindi ko din, like, I took it right.
And that's not bad at all. Okay lang.
Yung personality.
Okay lang naman yan. Pero siguro malabo yan na mag-change yung the 4 letters. Magbabago yan siguro, 2 letters, 1 letter. Pero yung tipong nag-opposite kayo lahat, parang medyo malabo yun.
May conformity. Conformity.
Oo, mamaya submit na lang.
I think talagang psychometrician yan, di ba?
Oo, yung handouts are almost the same, except that we don't have IO. And then there's additional handouts for, I think for TOP, for the last day, And this psychotherapy and counseling, there will be another handout. And even with psych and of course assessment, the advanced one. But we highly encourage everyone to also read even for the psychometricians, because a lot of things are almost similar, especially for the psych assessment and even psych. So and even with TOP, we'll be using the same handout, but we'll add another handout on the last day. So you can use this. Sino yung mga ngayon lang dumating? I'll check your name. Ayan. Ano pong pangalan mo? Oo, Malabana. I'll just put it here. And then the other one. Oo. Yung mga ngayon lang dumating, I'm not sure kasi I counted the number of handouts that we have. I think we'll be short by three handouts. I'm not sure. I'll check. Pero kung kasya naman, we can give. So, si Mokal, I think you're also a student in the past. Sa Psychomed. Oo. Naalala ko yung apelido mo. And then the other one is the sun. I'll check La. How do you spell your surname? D-E. D-E. Space S-D-G. Ayun. And then the other one. Oh, nag-take ka ng psychomet mo? Oo. Ng psychologist. Di ba tinatanong mo ko dati if you will be taking...
Dapat ito yung naka-enroll ko.
Oo.
Hindi ko pa-complete.
Oo.
So, nag-change ako nag-psychomet.
Tapos ngayong taon, hindi na po pwede yung sabay eh.
Hindi na.
Kasi magkasabay na yung time slot eh.
Yun yung slot ko dati.
Dati di ba hiwalay? So pwede kang mag-take ng dalawa kung atik, di ba?
Kaso, hindi ko kinaya. Wala akong mga subject.
Oo.
Ngayon ako.
Ngayon okay na. Sino pa yung kadarating lang? I think the guy in violet, yes? Sir Romel Lagbayani. Tingnan natin kung ano, magkakasya. And then, sino pa yung wala? Hindi pa na. Andito ba si Sahabur? Wala. Andito si Ma'am De Loyola. Ikaw yun, di ba? Ma'am Maravilla. Kalisa, wala. Regina Chavez, wala ba? Lian Lucenia, wala. Maritoni Habero, Hazel Faye Joaquin, Tatiana San Jose. Ikaw po yan, ma'am? Sige. Tatiana San Jose. Ako. Elaine Marasigan. Ayun. Adrian Imas. Ferdinand Tan. Hansen Reyes. Ay, yes. Okay. Twenty-seven na itong count ko. Ilan dito 28? Hindi naman. Wala ba tayong bigyan? So, sino hindi namin nabigyan ng handouts? I'll give it on Thursday. I'll follow it up, promise. si
I
Sir.
want video on Thursday.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Tapos sino pa yung isa? Okay. Ano pangalan? Sorry. Ano pong name nung isa pa na walang handout? Ano pong name niya? Ano pong name nung katabi? Ay, Arman. Isang kulang. Pero 28.
Wrong pa rin.
Ano siya? O baka hindi na 13. Wala ka tayo binigyan.
Binigyan mo natin si Kuya yung bagong
Hindi ko nga binigyan yun. Oo, kasi mali siya na yung rule niya. Anyway, sige, mag-roll call na lang ako. Si Ma'am Isabel, Ma'am Uziel de Loyola, Ma'am Bebski, ayun, present. Ma'am Maria Buntilo, Jessamine De Leon, May Pilar Mercado, awesome, Sir Romel, Ma'am Saiza, Ma'am Marian Lopez, Jinky Malabanan, Mary Paz, si Ma'am Fuentes nandito, si Lani Tiglao, Rachel Ann Petty. Asan si Ma'am Rachel Ann? Oo, siya yung sa, ano po, nag-excuse nga pala. Tatiana San Jose, Jacqueline Ong, Elaine Marsigan, tapos Jewel Sardito, Afdera Cabrera, Ma'am Minette Solis. Andito ba si Ma'am Minette Solis? Lucia Santos, Roger Mangales. Okay. Ma'am Serafina. Ay, okay, nagkita ako. And then Ferdinand Salonga. Ay, yun, sige. Anyway, so ilan po lang natin dalawa?
Isa lang ba?
Isa lang. Okay. Ano ito?
Thank you.
I'll ask her to give us
Okay, so shall we continue? Yeah. So we have Jung, and Adler is actually one of the si Adler was also a follower of Freud, but just like Jung, meron siyang ibang ideas. So he called his theory individual psychology. The core construct or the core structure of personality of Adler is strengths and weaknesses or insecurities. A person who is healthy is someone who knows his or her inferiorities and strives to convert those into superiority. These people see problems and insecurities as opportunities to grow. The goal of the person is to compensate inferiorities and strive for superiority. Now, what are the possible sources of inferiority? Now, in psychotherapy, these are the inferiorities that we point out to our clients so that they will be aware that they're inferior. The most common is organic or physical, like height, weight, handicap, disease, sickness. So I asked my undergraduate students, if it is gender specific, like for example, girls or adolescent, okay? Adolescent girls daw, the major source of insecurity would be, do you have any idea? Well, according to them, it's weight. But if I do a nationwide survey, I don't know what will come out. Maybe the same, maybe not. But it makes sense, right? For girls, the weight. But is it something developmental? Like, kapag adult ka ba, hindi na weight, maybe something else? O weight pa rin? Okay. For boys, they cannot really have a unified answer. Iba complexion, iba height. Yeah. So, that's organic or physical. Handicap, kunyari, hindi pantay kamay mo, or you have polio, or sakitin ka. Okay. Another source would be parental overindulgence, or pampered children tend to be it's difficult for them to survive in the world where it's harsh. Meron naman parental neglect. Mga bata hindi masyado nabigyan ng attention, so they become insecure also. Yeah. Another source of inferiority would be socioeconomic. Right? Like for example, you have friends who are super rich. Like you work, your office mates, they always eat lunch in expensive restaurants. Ikaw, ang budget mo lang ay Jolly Jeep. Ano yun dyan? Ano yun ba? Yun yung mga jeep na nila sa tabi ng yun lang ang budget mo. What if every day nagyayaya? Tapos you run out of excuses. Busog ko eh. I'm waiting for an important call. But totoong sawang-sawa ka na magbigay ng excuse kung ba't di ka sumasama. Because you don't have money for it. Right? Low education. Another would be psychological insecurity, such as you know very well that you're not as intelligent as your friends, as your brothers, as your relatives. Not only intelligence, but emotions. You recognize that you have problems managing your anger. Or another example would be the one I gave earlier, yung hindi niya wala pang kiyok, hindi na magaling.
May blind skin na din.
Pero maliit pa rin.
Then we wanted to be
Ano natin pansin? Ano natin siya? Denial. Wala tayong nakitang dilim.
positive psychology, fabricating.
Pero it's hard to deny if there's some. Anyway, so the example I gave a while ago, yung talagang hindi naman niya mapigilan ng kanyang pagiging masayahin. There are two ways to cope with the complexes. I mean, there are two ways to cope with inferiorities. Either you develop inferiority complex, wherein your perception is that you are incompetent, that you are not enough. But remember that complexes are not necessarily true. You can be the best in your class, and yet, because of your experiences in your family, you think that you're not good enough. Diba? For example, this case, this girl was so happy to go home because he's excited to tell his dad that she was voted secretary of the class. This 8-year-old girl, so excited. But when he goes home, Dad, I am the secretary of the class. Then the dad would say, why not president? Yeah. So even if she's one of the best in the class, she thinks she's not good enough. So she developed inferiority complex. On the other hand, there are some people who hide their insecurities by overcompensating, and it develops into superiority complex. They exaggerate their skill. So, itong pusang to, feeling niya leon siya. When it comes dun sa components ng theory, diba? This is the motivation part, the great upward drive. This is, because of this, we are motivated to strive for superiority. Ayan. To be superior, we need to be aggressive, we need to be proactive, we need to find ways, right, to get what we want. Okay? To be aggressive in a positive way to actively seek opportunities to improve self. Okay? So you cannot develop your weaknesses if you're passive. Diba? If you want to improve your strength, then join quizzes, join competitions. Now, if you are in that position, you took that opportunity, the next step is to be powerful, again, in a positive way. Exert your power or your skill. Okay? And to feel superior, develop mastery of the skill. The nature of superiority, it's a fundamental motive, meaning it's universal. Okay? So, I mean, it's fundamental. When you're born, you want to be superior. It's universal. Every culture, every individual in a culture would like to be superior. Nakarinig na ba kayo ng kaibigan ninyo o kakakilala man lang na nagsabing ang goal ko sa buhay ay maging inferior? Wala, di ba? So it's really a natural thing to want superiority. Yeah? Then it has a direction. To be superior in a negative way is to take advantage of other people. Of course, the positive is to use your power and knowledge to help other people. Because for Adler, this is the healthy personality, a sociable person, one who socializes. But to be superior, it needs effort. Hindi yan tipong kukuha ka lang ng bato at ilalagay yung subig mo at sisigaw ka ng dami at maging superior ka na. Diba? It's something that you need to do. It's something you need to earn. According to Adler. It occurs in a personal and societal level. Individually, you want to be superior, and it can be a collective thing. Like for example, you wish our profession to be known as one of the most important profession in the country, then that's a societal level of striving for superiority. We want to be known as a great nation in Southeast Asia is a societal level striving for superiority. Now, in our quest to be superior, sometimes some of us take the negative road or take the negative path to superiority. Okay? Now, ito yung style of life, yung direction that we take. Okay? Some, to get what they want, to be superior, they become aggressive or they become ruling. Okay? And they bully, it's like, I'll get what I want through force. Okay? Meron naman yung parasitic, I'll get what I want through charms. Hindi kong pagpakabait ako, sisip-sip, to get what I want. Parasitic. They need host to survive. Ito ngayon yung mga misguided, for example, yung mga good-looking people. Baka inferior ang tingin nila sa sarili nila, but they know how to use their good looks. What they'll do is charm other people to get what they need. Di ba? May mga ganyan tao. Alam nilang pogit maganda sila eh. Gamitin nila yun. Yung mga hihirit na, sige na please, for me, mga ganyan. We have the avoidance type, or avoiding type. These people, their principle is, if no one knows me, then they will not know that I'm weak. So I would rather hide. I will not join competitions. I will not go to parties so that they will not discover that I'm not good in English. I will not join math quizzes so that they will not discover that I am not a good math person. So they hide. But the ideal style of life is what we call a socially useful type. It is a mature type wherein a person would accept his strengths and weaknesses and brave enough to face life's problems. Okay. Speaking about problems, according to Adler, tatlo lang naman daw yan. Okay? We have a lot of problems, but we try to classify them into three. It's just about work, relationship, and love. And our styles of life will greatly influence how we live in school, our work, or our relationship with family, and our relationship with our partners. Why? For example, Adlerian therapy, the assumption is your role in the society is influenced by your role in the family. Okay? For example, in the family, you are the provider. Then in society, ganun din daw i-manifest mo. If you are the baby in the family, then you are the baby in society. That's the assumption in the theory. Yung sinasabi sa inyong birth order na ako hindi pa na rin masyado pinapanula. It's valid, I think, but yung strength niya, I think, is not that as valid as before. Like, firstborn are achievers. Well, that's true, a lot of firstborn are achievers, but I can see some middle child na achievers din. Secondborn, middle, last, do you believe in this? Well, it's not entirely true, but some families still is like a prototype of this, but not all. Diba? Ano na ba kasi yung mga na-affected dyan? Like for example changing family structure. We have different types of families now. Meron tayong OFW families, yung tatay wala. So yung panganay, nagiging parang the dad of the family. So he is no longer the firstborn, but the second dad. We have LGBT families. So hindi mo rin alam kung, diba? We have single parent families. We have families that have panganay.
Extended.
Yeah, we have extended families. So a healthy human being is someone who has what we call social interest. That is why a socially healthy person is someone who is socially useful style of life. Using socially useful. Bakit ganun? Ang lakas yun. Okay, at least we're not outside. So don't be affected. Okay, three indicators that you are a healthy human being is one, if you are a socially interested person, means you care for others, you live for others. Creative self meaning kaya siya creative kasi you are being in control. Meaning, even if you have limitations, physical, organic, parental, socioeconomic, psychological limitations, or insecurities, you're creative enough to compensate with these insecurities. Okay? So the creative self is the one that pushes you to be the person you want to be. Okay? And that person you want to be is guided by what we call fictional finalism. Fictional means, kung sinabi fictional, ano ibig sabihin? Hindi totoo. Pero, in this context, hindi pa totoo. Kasi yun yung final destination. Parang mamamatay, final destination. That's the final, that's your goal. That's where you're headed. That's why it's fictional finalism. That's your direction where you're heading. And you use your creative self to go there. And as you go there are people you will interact with. Okay? That's why you need to be socially interested. Okay, so what is the part of the theory that explains pathology? This one. A person is full of excuses. I cannot do that because I have limitations. Kasi mahirap lang ako, maliit lang ako, kasi hindi ako matalino. Excuses. Aggression. Hindi ko makuha, mananakot lang ako. Or distancing. Now, you will see that these 3 types of neurosis are related to the styles of life. Diba? So, those who are getting type, they are full of excuses. Hindi ko kaya ko na lang, please. Kumain mo naman ako. Okay, the dominant type are full of aggression. So, the avoiding type, they distance themselves from other people. So, yan si Adler. Yes. Questions? Ruling dominant. Ay, sorry. This is ruling. Do you need a break? Oh, 5 minutes. Zero. 5 minutes.
Yes, yes.